And that is story time. As I was saying, I do write these stories, and I do have a reading that I'd like to share with you all tonight with my fan fiction. So I started writing fan fiction years ago. I'm going to date myself even further. 2001, 2000, like the turn of the millennium, is when I started writing fan fiction and publishing it online. And I'm not going to give you the moniker for that because that was too freaking embarrassing, and I'm not going to talk about that right now. But I started publishing stories through fanfiction.net, and I moved on to AO3, Archive of Our Own, a few years ago. So what I'm going to share with you is a recent piece that I started just a couple months ago in anticipation of the Sonic 3 movie. So I will talk about the Sonic 3 movie tonight as well on this Twitch stream. I'm going to give you my review, and my review is going to be spoiler-free, and I'm going to read through chapter 1 of my latest story. Now, my story is a Sonato shipping story. If you know what Sonato is, it's Sonic and Shadow together as more than just friends. So how do you, how does each of them, confront and navigate, feelings? How do they figure themselves out? And also I'm telling this story with respect to the Sonic movie franchise. Now, because I just saw the Sonic 3 movie, any future chapters beyond chapter 3, which I just posted, they are going to have hints to the Sonic movie 3, but they're not going to have there's no spoilers. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read to you all a chapter from my fan fiction that I just started. My fan fiction is called It's Complicated, which I feel that is an apt title for this story. And again, it's a Sonato story, and you can find it on AO3, which is the abbreviation for Archive of Our Own. My username is Easily Distracted Jedi, so you can find me through AO3, Easily Distracted Jedi. But I'm going to read to you from chapter 1, which is entitled The Mean Bean Coffee Company. And I'm going to give you the premise, the summary here. Now, the summary here carries over from Sonic Adventure 2. It carries over from Shadow the Hedgehog. It carries over the video games that I'm mentioning here, video game titles. It also carries over from, of course, the Sonic movie franchise. So, if you are a fan of any of those properties, you will like my story. If you're like me and you love Sonic Adventure 2 and you love all that stuff, you will like my story. So, in the summary here, it says the Shadow the Hedgehog is resurrected by Dr. Ivan Robotnik after being in stasis for 50 years, only to confront Robotnik and Stone on their relationship and question himself as he seeks vengeance for Maria's death. Shadow assumes the cause of her loss is the Black Arms aliens, who are supposedly allied with none other than Sonic the Hedgehog, but what he didn't expect was the depths of his feelings for the blue blur. The black-quilled hedgehog with crimson tips looked up at the entrance to the corner coffee shop, raising an eyebrow curiously, while folding his arms against his chest. His white patch of chest fur puffed up with the brisk, icy wind. Montana was not known for a gentle climate, especially not in the dead of winter, and he stowed the thought that he was freezing cold deep down inside his mind, letting his child self seize in pain whilst he took on a dour expression. The mean bean, he grunted softly to himself, his hot breath instantly becoming a miniature cloud on the cold breeze. He blinked his bright red eyes, shook his head, and let out a bemused "Ch." "Hello, other hedgehog," the more heavy-set Dr. Ivor Robotnik, Sonic often called him Eggman, had somehow snuck up behind the black and crimson coat creature in question. He dramatically pivoted to block the creature from entering his beloved slice of Americana, as well as a secret lab. "I see you found my quaint establishment in the heart of Green Hills. I trust you hoofed it all this way, okay?" He swept his white gloves through his comical mustache, getting icicles off its wiry mass, and grinned maniacally, his red snow goggles obscuring his eyes from the hedgehog before him. "You know, all you hedgehogs look awfully alike. What's your name again?" He paused, grooming his mustache to fold his arms across his chest, doing his best to mimic the hedgehog's pose. "Don't tell me, wait. It's something contrived and simplistic, isn't it? I mean, The red one with those big meaty paws is called Knuckles. The fox with the two tails is called Tails. So you must be Shadow, the hedgehog grunted, rolling his eyes. And I know who you are. Move aside, Doctor. I'm here to investigate this little coffee shop of yours. Gunn didn't make you part of the Health and Wellness Advisory Board, did they? Robotnik spread his arms out wide, lightly tapping his fingers to sections of his palms as he did so in a rapid-fire text. Agent Stone, within the shop, shuttered the blinds and switched out the F- grade placard to an A placard, catching a glimpse of Shadow with fear in his large brown eyes. Doctor, who is that? Stone typed frantically while shutting down his Robotnik cosplay device 2.0, now with an added Sims 4 component. I have no idea, Stone, Robotnik typed back while facing Shadow. Let's play nice for now and see where it gets us. You know my order by now, baby. He smiled even wider at the scowling creature. Latte with steamed Austrian goat milk, Robotnik heard Stone say, and the lab was now a storefront once again, with warm lighting, a fireplace in one corner, and coffee grinders revving up, crunching down the beans that sat within them loudly. Shadow sniffed the air. A memory hit him, one where he found a container of Professor Gerald's prized Arabica coffee beans while he and Maria were playing hide-and-seek aboard the Ark. He let the memory stay, the cold mountainous town drifting away into a sea of starlight below his air-shoe-clad feet. Robotnik marveled as he levitated, watching the fire from the boosters instantly melt the snow on the ground. Aho! Where did you get those? I haven't seen air shoes since Robotnik was about to sink into his own reverie when he broke Shadow's. I must get inside, Shadow gruffed, and pushed past Robotnik toward the doors. Robotnik's jaw dropped, and he whirled about, with the sound mimicking one of his badniks turning on his chassis, like the woo woo, like the like the thing that he does. I'm terrible at the noises that Jim Carrey makes. I cannot do it, but I'm doing my best. I hope that you're liking this reading so far, folks. Eager to try our mean beans, I see, beamed Agent Stone in his barista outfit. The slender, olive-skinned man with short black hair and a well-groomed beard and goatee rushed around the counter to meet Shadow, and to ensure Robotnik's rage was called long enough to develop a customer service facade. Coffee was all Shadow could mumble, overwhelmed now by the sight of the grinders and the state-of-the-art dispensers in polished stainless steel. The smell of coffee is what made his head spin more than when he performed a homing attack. The rich, heavy, earthy smell that reminded him of home, of the love of his beloved Maria and her comfort. His air shoes hit the tile floor and singed the grout slightly, making Stone inwardly sigh, oh great. Another space porcupine to clean up after. I hope Ivo knows what he's doing with this time. I'd really like just for us to... Barista Stone, I'd like to try some of your coffee, please. Shadow read his crooked name tag, which Robotnik narrowed his eyes at, and then Stone straightened it nervously. Absolutely, Stone replied as he scuttled back behind the counter, holding the creature's cold, soul-piercing gaze, waiting for the name. He swallowed hard. The space porcupine. Why does he remind me of Ivo in her younger years? Focus, Stone, focus. Shadow, the softest hint of a smile, started to thaw the iciness in his gaze. Shadow the Hedgehog. Stone scribbled on a cup while Robotnik ambled over and took a seat in a booth by the front counter, staring at both of them curiously. Why my fate continues to be tied to these hedgehogs is beyond me. Still, the gems that they keep bringing to this world will make for an incredible source of power, and this one will be the one to beat. I wonder, what makes this creature tick? He seemed to be lost in thought with the smell of coffee. Perhaps a loved one? A lover? Maybe both? Who cares? I have to get into his head before he gets into mine, Roddick thought, all while Stone served him a lovingly etched cup of hot Austrian goat milk latte. Would you like a latte? An espresso? If you're feeling cheeky, maybe a flat white do you right, mate. Stone tried to impress Shadow and failed miserably as he returned to the counter of the shop. Shadow just stared at Stone, blinking. Robotnik rolled his eyes and sipped his latte slowly and loudly. Stone, Robotnik's tone made the other man freeze. Stone looked down at the floor, his eyes wide, his smile fading. He was expecting a rebuke, a sharp retort, a cruel jab at his big heart. Robotnik lifted his chin and winked. You did an excellent, adding just the right amount of mushroom. Keep it up, and you might get a raise. Yes, Doctor. Stone felt the spring in his step as he continued to address Shadow. Shadow raised an eyebrow again, staring at them both even more curiously than he stared at the false storefront moments ago. What an odd mating ritual. Huh. Pathetic humans, groveling for attention. Shadow thought for a moment. Then, can you do me a favor, Barista Stone? Yes, whatever you'd like. Stone felt his voice crack. Robotnik furrowed his brows at that, and Stone cleared his throat, waiting expectantly while leaning over the counter slightly. Put only your finest roast beans in this cup. No water, no espresso, no grinding. Just whole beans. You don't drink coffee? Robotnik mumbled aloud. Fascinating. What a little weirdo, he thought, finishing his cup. Of course, Stone asked Shadow, looking over at Robotnik for clarification. The doctor shrugged and started adding notes into his watch. Any specific flavor? Shadow stood there thinking, letting the recesses of his memory rise to the surface, like the twisted tendrils of Black Arm's aliens, turning his gaze distant. He recalled popping open Gerald's glass coffee container and eating the beans with his hands, soiling his gloves, struggling to chew them. He read the small white label on the container's glass surface as he ate. Arabica, he grunted aloud, phonetically sounding out the word as he did when he was young. Dark or light roast? Dark, of course, Shadow returned from his reverie, just the way Gerald and Maria liked them, as did I. Oh, and please include a serving spoon. I don't want to get my hands dirty. Not yet, you don't, Robotnik chortled, a glint in his eyes that only Stone could catch. What's that supposed to mean, Doctor? Shadow asked, genuinely unsure of his double entendre. Nothing at all, my fine black and red-clothed fellow, Robotnik grinned, wandering over to Stone and Shadow. He set his goggles on one end of the counter and balanced his weight with elbows against it. So, what brings you here tonight? Your usual den too cold? Stone prepped the coffee and listened in on the conversation attentively. I'm no mere hedgehog, Doctor. I thought your grandfather clued you in on that ages ago, Shadow gruffed in response, avoiding the man's eye contact. Well, an alien hedgehog, at least to here on Earth, yes, Robotnik nodded, fidgeting with his mustache. He steepled his fingers beneath his chin, raising an eyebrow at Shadow. You know why I'm here. I was sent by Gerald, Gunn, to investigate your establishment, Shadow gruffed. Are you familiar with the other hedgehog that lives yonder? Robotnik wanted to know, ignoring his statement. There's another? Shadow wondered. I thought they were all extinct, wiped out with the siege of Longclaw. I thought I was the last. Yes, and he's been truly antagonizing, Robotnik gritted his teeth. The residents of this town for years, including yours truly. His name is Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog! And with Hedgehog, Robotnik shouted angrily, making Stone wince and Shadow's eyes widen in alarm. When the echo of his voice died down, Robotnik caught his breath, and he cleared his throat. I take it you know of him? I know Gunn does. Shadow was quiet for a long time. Stone peered at him from behind the counter, blinking slowly. A blush had risen to Shadow's cheeks. He tried to force down his feelings, tried to hide the years of longing that welled up in his chest, and of the tears he felt moving to the corners of his eyes. He closed them, taking in a few deep breaths, his chest hairs quivering with the attempt to calm down. Another hedgehog? A chance to have a mate at last? A chance to be happy? Then, aloud softly, the story goes, all hedgehogs, as you know of us, died out, along with the owls years ago. I didn't know another had escaped that fate. You see, Roddy continued, chewing on a cookie Stone presented to him. He wiped away the crumbs with taps of his fingers, infinitesimally small, tiny dots cleaning them away from his suit, and started to pace the floor between Stone and Shadow. I've been trying to track the origins of that blue-quilled menace for a while now, Alas, I can only pinpoint a comet that orbits close to our solar system once every 50 years. A comet? Shadow felt an internal shudder. An unbidden memory arrived. A roving, slimy yellow and red eye, moving listlessly in a black and red-skinned alien being, hissing his name after he emerged from his incubator tank. It turns out my grandpapa, as brilliant as he was, had to make a deal with this extraterrestrial devil to keep his business alive, and this devil was involved with these hedgehogs, and this comet, too. I'm more than a mere hedgehog, and more than Gerald's business, Doctor, Shadow growled, his quills and fur hackles rising with the implication. He pointed a finger at the mustache man and continued, I am the ultimate life form on this planet, the only hope we have against such intruders. How dare you insinuate that I'm allied with them? Ah, but Sonic is allied with this communist devil, it seems, Robotnik nodded, pausing in his pacing to face Shadow. What? Shadow was taken aback. At that moment, Stone gave him a cup full of the roasted beans. Shadow chewed on the new information and the dark roasted Arabica beans. He grunted in pleasure, which Stone and Robotnik found oddly arousing, and they stared at him as he ate, enraptured. It's never good, Shadow continued while swallowing, to dilute the flavor. He cleared his throat, noting the shocked expressions of both men. Stone, Robotnik whispered. Stone started to blush and sweat, adjusting his collar. Yes, Doctor? Stone wanted to know, unable to take his eyes off Shadow, as he dug in another spoonful and ate, rolling his red eyes in bliss. Robotnik kissed his Stone. This hedgehog is not the same as Sonic. Clearly not. He's got to be some kind of mutant hybrid. I mean, who eats raw coffee beans? I honestly don't know, Doctor. I can't help but watch him. I mean, how does he? And Stone let out a gurk as Robotnik grabbed him in his necktie below his barista's smock and yanked him close. The way he looked when I mentioned our blue rat. Do you think there's a possibility, an inkling, that he could be attracted to Sonic? I thought they were related. No, you buffoon! I was using that information as a decoy, to send him up into thinking that somehow, some way, they might be distantly related, obviously not direct. Shadow was supposedly a project my grandpapa kept secret from the government for decades. But is this Shadow my Shadow? Catch my drift? Robotnik set Stone down, who gasped for air gratefully. I think so, Doctor, Stone swallowed, recovering and adjusting his tie, straightening his barista smock. This coffee is most excellent, Shadow proclaimed, nearly finished with his cup. His quills began to stand on end, and he started to rev up his air shoes instinctively. I'll need to go on a run soon to burn it all off. So tell me, Dr. Marista Stone, is this Sonic? Am I somehow involved with this comet? Is Sonic allied with the ones known to me as the Black Arms? Did he betray us? Betray me? The Black Arms? Could that be the double alien race my grandpapa knows? Robotnik leaned even closer to Stone, his voice imperceptible whisper that made the latter's neck hair stand out on end. He's into him, Stone. Hook, line, and sinker. Then, pulling away and ambling toward Shadow. This Sonic! Ever since he came here, he's been nothing but trouble toward me and Stone here. He nearly destroyed this town with his buddy cop Daddy, unless I checked. He has the Chaos Emeralds. The Chaos Emeralds? Shadow wanted to know. He coughed slightly, the chorus being sticking to his throat. Then Robotnik continued. We both know the kind of power that he has with those. He could be some kind of terrorist, out to conquer the world for Hedgehog kind. So I've been trying to get the emeralds back. Why? Shadow wondered, tossing his cup in the trash and giving the spoon back to Stone, who grimaced in disgust. It was covered in saliva, and teeth marks made divots into it. Doctor, there's no need to safeguard the emeralds for Gun. That's my job, last I checked. Robotnik sneered and then put on a wide fake smile. I'm the smartest man on this planet. Well, aside from Stone. And I know what's at stake here, Shadow. I know what that power means. In the wrong hands, shouldn't we, as humans that are stewards of this blue planet, do the responsible thing and prevent chaos from reigning supreme over this world? Isn't that what Maria wanted? Maria! Shadow's heart nearly stopped on hearing her name. His angel, the blonde human girl with blue eyes deeper than the ocean floor. The one who, despite being sickly, loved him unconditionally. The one who sent him to Earth 50 years ago. The one whose name once again brought him back to life. Shadow's rage began to rise on thinking of his loss. and he scrunched up his nose in a deep scowl. A hedgehog like Sonic cannot be captured. Only bested, Doctor. Shadow just... His eyes glowed red like coals on an open flame. An energy started to surge through his quills, turning them neon orange. The lights in the mean beam began to dim and flicker as Shadow's energy started to build. Shadow's limiter rings tightened on his wrists and ankles, making him wince for a split second. Robotic noted the rings and tapped on his watch, taking photos of them silently. Then, race that blue rat to the ends of the earth if you have to, Shadow. I want you to fulfill my grandpapa's, no, Maria's promise. You say you're here to protect mankind? Prove it! And bring that hedgehog back to me, so I can deal with him accordingly. Then he snarled, Sonic will be mine, Doctor. I'll make sure of it, because I am the ultimate life. Before Robotnik could give a single quip in response, Shadow was gone, blasting out the doors of the Mean Bean coffee shop in the dead of night, his quills and air shoes the only brief light before total darkness surrounded the streets of the mountain town. And so that is the first chapter of my story. That's the very first chapter of the story that's shown here on Canva on the screen. I hope that you enjoyed that reading of It's Complicated, chapter 1 of a Sonato story here. And so that was the Mean Bean Coffee Company is the chapter in the story if you want to read it for yourself. And you want to read more, there's 3 chapters up right now. One more will be posted very soon. I'm working on it in the evenings here, so hopefully I'll be posting it within like the next day or two before Christmas, before the holiday time. And if it is holiday time for you, I hope that you're enjoying it, by the way. And I hope you enjoyed that story. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I don't usually do readings of my work, but I hope that you enjoyed that. And again, this story is rated T for teen. There is a romance that is going to develop between Sonic and Shadow. So just be aware of that if you are a reader and a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. You may not like Sonato Ship, that's okay. But I deeply appreciate all the reads and all the kudos and all the likes on my stuff. This story is blowing up online. I was not expecting so many kudos and so many comments, and I've been reading them all, and I love them all, and I deeply appreciate all of you for making the time to, if you're stopping by this Twitch, hi. My name is DLP on AO3 is Easily Distracted Jedi, and I just did a reading of chapter 1 of It's Complicated live for you here on Twitch, and it is going to be recorded and posted to the VOD as well, so feel free to check that out when you get a chance. Everybody, that I am now streaming on Twitch. My user handle there is BambiRaptor9 Twitch. It's all lowercase. So my next streams are going to be this coming Saturday and Sunday. On Saturdays, I do a Just Chatting stream where I talk about my creative projects, what's going on with that, fan fiction, stuff like that. And then on Sundays are the game streams where you can watch me play a game live. So feel free to go ahead and sign up, subscribe to my stream. Thank you all so much for your support here on YouTube. I really appreciate it. And the VODs will be posted here to YouTube after the Twitch stream has concluded. Probably within about 24 to 48 hours, the VODs will be posted. So once again, thank you so much for supporting me in my channel, and I look forward to seeing you all on Twitch.